The child stared at the folded note as if it might speak. It was their birthday. Again. No cards. No calls. Just silence. They had written their own invitation. Again. It was tucked under their pillow, addressed to no one. The bed creaked as they stood up. Another year, another wish whispered into emptiness. But they still hoped, foolishly, that someone might come. They placed the cupcake carefully in the center. A single candle flickered in the breeze. No voices, no songs, just the patter of rain. They adjusted the paper hat on their head, trying to smile. A paper banner fluttered from a tree branch, made from old newspapers. They whispered, "Happy birthday," to themselves. One bite, then silence. Above, someone watched from a window. Behind the fog glass, another child watched. They had seen the lonely ritual before. But this year, something felt different. Their chest tightened with something like sadness. They wiped the window with a sleeve to see more clearly. The birthday child sat perfectly still, a statue of sorrow. The watching child turned, disappeared into the hallway. They had an idea, and maybe the courage to follow it. Their footsteps were soft, barely audible. They held a small box, nothing fancy, but precious. In the other hand, a torn page with shaky handwriting. It read, "You don't have to be alone today. You and The hallway creaked as they reached the door. They hesitated, then knocked twice. No answer. Still, they slipped the note under the door and left the box beside it. The candle had long since gone out. The cupcake was soggy from rain. But as they returned to their room, something caught their eye. A box. A note. Their fingers trembled as they unfolded the paper. Words they never expected. "You don't have to be alone today." Yeah. They looked around, heart pounding. For the first time in years they smiled, not for show, but for real. They opened the box slowly, hands shaking. Inside was a simple bracelet made from colored threads, and a tiny carved figure, an animal, perhaps a fox. It wasn't store-bought. It was made, thoughtful. Their eyes filled with something warmer than tears. They placed the bracelet on their wrist carefully. It fit perfectly. They whispered, "Thank you." Yahan. The hallway was quieter than usual. They passed each other near the stairs. No words, just a glance, a soft nod. Recognition. The one who gave the gift looked away. Shy. The one who received smiled, gently, genuinely. A moment passed between them, fragile but real, and the silence no longer felt so empty. They didn't talk at first. Words weren't needed. They sat beneath the tree where the banner once hung. Leaves fell like confetti from the sky. The carved fox sat between them on the grass. Every now and then their shoulders almost touched. It was enough. They weren't alone anymore. Glue, paper, thread, chaos on the table. They worked quietly, heads bent. The bracelet maker showed how to twist the threads. The other child copied, hands uncertain but trying. Other children watched from nearby tables. Whispers floated. Are they friends now? No one answered aloud. But something was changing. Another birthday, but not alone. 2 cupcakes, 2 candles. No banner, but colored ribbons fluttered nearby. They both wore matching paper hats. One sang softly. The other listened, eyes closed. They blew out the candles together. Laughter, not loud, but real, filled the courtyard. Hope had returned, quietly but completely. The hallway was brighter than usual. Paper streamers hung loosely above. They had drawn their own decorations, balloons, cupcakes, stars. Together, they pinned them up one by one. Other kids began to join, tentatively at first. The board slowly filled with colors and names. It wasn't a big party, but it was shared. And that was everything. The room glowed with soft lamplight. They sat cross-legged, threading beads in silence. One would choose a color, the other would nod. They had a rhythm now, familiar and kind. The little carved fox watched from its place. Their fingers moved with purpose, building something simple and strong. The silence was warm, not heavy. The bracelets were for others this time. Spring painted the world green again. The courtyard was alive, with children, with sound. A sign read, "Everyone's birthday," in colorful chalk. No candles, just laughter and sharing. Bracelets were given out like party favors. They watched from the bench, smiling. Their small gesture had grown into something bigger. They still didn't say much, but they didn't need to. The night was quiet, the sky full of stars. They sat on a worn blanket, knees touching. One held the book, the other the flashlight. Their voices took turns, soft and steady. The carved fox lay nearby, guarding dreams. The story was simple. The moment was everything. When they finished, they didn't move. They had found their way to each other and stayed. The sun lit the room like a blessing. The shelf had changed over the months. There were drawings now, colorful, messy, proud. Bracelets, paper hearts, notes that said, "Thank you. Yana, Nigamonake." It showed. At the center stood the carved fox, still, quiet, remembered. Their past loneliness hadn't vanished, but it had been answered with presence, with kindness, with each other. The room was mostly empty, sunlight stretching across the table. They whispered together, heads close. Tomorrow was someone else's birthday. They were planning, preparing. A new cupcake, a new note. This time, it wouldn't be solitary. They knew how much it mattered. They had lived it. The candle flickered, then vanished with a breath. The younger child beamed, cheeks glowing. Ribbons danced in the air around them. A paper fox sat beside the cupcake. The two friends watched from afar, their hands clasped tightly. This time, someone had been seen. The box closed with a soft click. Inside, a bracelet, a folded hat, a carved fox, and a photo, faded but bright with smiles. It wasn't much, but it held everything. Proof that even quiet kindness lasts. That presence leaves a mark. The courtyard looked smaller now. Time had passed. Faces had changed. But the table still stood. The tree still leaned gently to one side. A breeze carried laughter, distant but familiar. They smiled, heart full of echoes. This place had shaped them. They had shaped it in return. A child sat alone, candle flickering. Tears threatened, but stayed. Then came footsteps. A shadow appeared. A gift box, small and wrapped. No words, just presence. The child looked up and smiled. It had begun again. Kindness passed on, like a torch in the dark.